Hello and welcome to what is going to be a Patreon exclusive video where we're going to spend our time trying to throw together a Pentium 4 Williamette PC build, which is going to be terrible value because it was on release and is going to be actually quite painful to try and do because socket 423 is relatively unknown and relatively unheard of, which is why it makes for an awesome video, because we've covered the Pentium D, we've covered the Celeron D, we've covered the final Pentium 4s, and we've covered, you know, the Northwood series. It's popped up more than a few times on the channel. But why don't we take a look at socket 423? So what we want to do is actually take a look at parts, because that's part one. So we want a socket 423 motherboard. Well, no, is there any point even typing motherboard? I don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference. As you can see, there's not much here. I've already got a rough idea of what I'm looking for, but if we set this to motherboards, and we'll see what pops up. Right, so genuine Intel board, semi-decent value for 50 quid, but I know if I scroll down, there was something that was a little bit better. I mean, there's a 423 board with DDR RAM and a CPU. That's very weird. If that's DDR, is it DDR or SD RAM? With support for fast DDR1 and classic SD RAM. Strange board. Well, that's what you could go for. That would be an awesome board. But that's a lot of money. And a lot of money I don't have to spend. So we're not going to be able to go for that. So, where else was it? There was a 423 board, but I swear it was an Asus board, but I've not looked down this far on international sellers. So, I'm kind of curious what's being sold. I know there was an Asus board from Poland somewhere, which was surprisingly good. Oh damn, look at that. That's nice, isn't it? You can see the prices on these types of boards are quite high. But ideally I'd like to go with Asus because I've seen a lot of good things. That includes the cooler. That includes a cooler. That's important because, I'm going to be honest, I know coolers are a pain in the arse to find, and I'm going to share this with you now. Curry's Business. Their business outlet still sells legacy stuff that businesses might need to buy. And although this says 478, the actual compatibility is for 423 as well. So that is actually quite a compelling purchase, so I'll pop that back over to the other screen. But that isn't too bad. I mean, the lack of RAM is not great. 256 megabytes is pretty bad, but we could always get some more RAM. And 1.7 gigahertz, whew, that's £150 though. It's a lot of money. I'm going to open that up in another tab, but that is, it's sort of like we should keep that in mind and compare costs when we're done to see how much it actually costs. Where's it gone? I managed to lose it. Right, there it was. Right, continue on our way down. Gigabyte board, socket 423 from Latvia. We're not going to be able to get one in the UK at all. That doesn't look too bad, does it? What's wrong with that? Socket 423, tested, fully working. SD RAM. Right, ideally we don't want SD RAM. Ideally, we want the RIM slots, because this doesn't use conventional DDR1 RAM, unless it was that one really expensive board. No, these use RIM slots, which are pretty much meant to be high speed, 800 megahertz plus in 2001, which is pretty decent RAM speed. That's near enough DDR2. The problem is other bottlenecks exist that mean that it's not much faster than DDR1 when actually put to use. In fact, I'm pretty sure in some cases DDR1 has an advantage because dual rank, and it also is this weird system. So I'll consider that board. That's a nice board, but ideally I don't think we really want to be we want the full 423 experience, which does unfortunately mean trying to find something that supports the whatchamacallits, all of the stuff. Socket Intel board. I wonder if that's got RIM slots. I think that just looks like standard DIMMs. We'll be able to see. ECC, non-ECC. Doesn't say much. Is there a description anywhere? Description? No. Still quite expensive on that board, though. Ideally, I don't really want something like that. There was a nice Asus board somewhere on here. If not, I can always just drag it across from the other screen. ECS. That's not bad at all. But what's up with that? That just looks like standard DIMMs. Standard DIMMs again. See, that's not what we want. We don't want standard DIMMs. We want to go with the full experience, really. Which does involve, unfortunately, trying to find the RIM slots. Honestly, that RAM's not too expensive. Isn't the problem? That's not a problem at all. In fact, is that the type of RAM we're looking for? I suppose we'll find out. Oh wow, zombie components. Well, they seem to be good. What else? I don't know if it says. Buy it now for $35. I wish it was that cheap over here. Although shipping from America is quite expensive. Yeah, £52. It's a lot of money. Right, let's go back up to the top. Type in motherboard and see if we can find the one that I found earlier. No, both are probably sold. But there was one on here that was... Is it sold? Let me check my resources screen over here. No, they're still available. It's just not showing up on this screen. I'll paste it in here. So this was the motherboard I was thinking about going for. I know it's quite expensive for what it is. It's £70. But it does support proper RIMs, the proper RAM for it. It does support AGP, and it looks brand new. Which, when we're using hardware this old, is probably a good thing to at least have it brand new. It also comes with a warranty as well. I've just noticed these related sponsored items. How enjoyable. But anyway, yeah, so that's part one. I'll add that to our basket. And we'll go from there. So motherboard sorted. Although these ones are nice, I'll leave that Asus one up there because I think that's the same motherboard we're looking at. So, as you can see, it's got those dummy slots there. This is probably a good comparison. Those dummy slots need to go in there because you have to have all the slots occupied for it to work properly. Ideally, we'll just have an entire gig of RAM. But if we can't, we might need to get a hold of some of those little dummy points there. But we'll come to that at a later point. I'm fairly sure as long as we have them all completely filled, we should be okay. At least that's my understanding. Well, that seems to be what it says online. Yeah, I mean, look at these pictures where they've just got it fully populated. So I'd imagine we can just have it like that where it's fully populated and they're even mix and matching. But yeah, we want 845 RAM. That's what we want to look for. But anyway, what we want next is, we'll close that. And we'll open up a new eBay search. We need a power supply because you might not have noticed this. Can you notice that little tab there? If I open up the image, you can see it there. You need 20-pin ATX, 4-pin 12-volt, and auxiliary 5-volt power. That's right. Not only is the Pentium 4 incredibly inaccessible from the price range, you have to try and find a good Pentium 4 power supply. Luckily, after preparing my search of what there's actually available, the best way to find one of these is actually typing Pentium 4 power supply unit. And when you type Pentium 4 power supply unit, you can find a lot of older Pentium 4 rated power supplies, and I found this one here. And it's cleaned and tested and working. It's quite old, but if you actually look, it's got 30 amps on the 5-volt rail, which is pretty impressive. So that should be more than enough. 12 volts at 15 amps, so if we want to put in a graphics card, 10 times 12, 120, we've got about 120 watts for the graphics card and all that, which should be more than okay to put in an X800 for benchmarking purposes. There's a few plans to get a few videos out of this. Just the Pentium 4, the first Pentium 4, and then maybe a Matrox Gaming PC, but let's add that to our basket as well. And next of all, we actually need the CPU. So if we get a, if we go back here, just copy 423, and we want the CPU. Right. So we've got to choose between 1.5, 1.6, 1.8. But at that stage, we're importing it from America and paying a lot of money to do so. because I'd imagine that's probably have some import fees on top of it. So we're probably going to want to go for 1.6 because it's a little bit better than the 1.5 that was standard on release. But it's still from that sort of era, so it shouldn't be too bad. If we had the money, we'd definitely go for the brand new one in box. There's one from Italy, but postage is a bit much. £12 for a 1.5. It's not bad, is it? I'm wondering if it's worth paying the extra £6 for that extra 100 megahertz, but I suppose might as well. Although it is a sponsored listing. I wonder if we type in 1.7, see if there's any 1.7s. 1.7 volt, 1.4, 1.7 volt. The problem is they all run at 1.7 volt. What about 1.6 gigahertz? 20 quid, 18, 1.6 from Russia for 22, so that's going to be the cheapest. Looks good enough. Tested in good working order. Oh boy, 256 kilobytes of cache. I can't wait. Let's add that to basket. How are we looking price-wise at the moment? It's going to be quite costly to do this, but it's going to be worth it, I reckon. So motherboard, power supply. Now we need the RAM, so we need RIM. Or RD RAM. So there's this. Now I can stick a bit on that later. But for now, I can't add it to my basket. But so I've got that to one side. But the only other thing would be... I think there was some... I'll open that up. RD RAM. Sometimes you have to search different terms for all this stuff. I'm still quite new with it myself, but we ideally want half a gig. Infineon stuff could be alright. Ideally, I'd prefer to go with 2 sticks of Samsung. Ooh, 1 gig RAM. No wonder that's expensive. You could have 2 gigs of RAM, which would be a very, very nice system. Unfortunately, I don't think we're really looking to spend that much, but for now, we'll just look through. Samsung? Any more Samsung? No, there's a lot of these that are quite expensive, and really, they shouldn't be. RAM bus, RD RAM, daughter board? Wait, what is that? Oh, so you can add in extra RAM on top of it, I suppose, if you had one of those workstations. It's even got its own RAM controller on board because it has its own RAM controller on the motherboard because it's of that age. But I suppose this Infineon stuff, it's 845, which I'm pretty sure is the same as this Samsung stuff I was looking at. 845, so that should be more than okay to be paired up together. So, is this tested working? I'll check, see if it's tested working. I'm assuming so. It runs hot, hence the caution hot surface warning. I'm not seeing much in the way of... If I type Samsung, maybe. I thought there was some Samsung stuff on here earlier. I was wondering if it might be available. If not, I might have added it to my basket already. So... yeah, it's not showing up, but I did have some. Yeah, 2 times 256 megabytes. And is that the same stuff down here? Yes, it is. Right, so there's the same stuff down here. 840. Is that the same stuff as that? Or is that 845? Wonder what the difference is. Probably enough. Wonder if I type in 845. See if we can find 4 sets of the same stuff. There's some never open stuff. There's single DIMM. Some more Samsung stuff. I suppose we could have a little bit on that. That seems to be the same stuff. Is it tested working? Doesn't say, but apparently so. 845. We could always offer them a £5 for it. And that way you've got a set of it. Ooh. Set of 4, 512 megabytes. Wonder if that'd be cheaper. 128 megabits a second. That's still quite a lot. Oh, 4 modules is 128. Right, not what we want. We want 4 modules of... I'd imagine that should work. Right, so we'll just add... I suppose we'll just go with those 2 bits of RAM, but we can't add them yet because we need 4. And I don't really want to go... I don't want to go with less than a gig of RAM on this build. Not when RAM's quite easily available in auction. I'll offer them. I reckon, at the end of it. So if we say an extra £10 to 15 on RAM, probably going to make the most sense. Maybe it would be worth us just RD RAM, see if there's anything else beforehand. Did I mention that this was complex? Because, oh boy, it is. That's why it's Patreon-exclusive content. And you guys haven't even had to witness me doing all the reading about what RD RAM is, why it needs to exist, and all this crap. So, alright, we've got those. We've got them open in this tab up here. I'm just confused about the Infineon stuff. So, what's this down here? Why is that so much more expensive? 128 megabytes. Is there a reason why 128 megabyte stuff seems to be so much so sought after? Let's take a look at our motherboard compatibility. There it is. Asus P4T. Let's see if the Asus website might be able to help us out here. Hopefully their website's not down. It was down earlier. Okay. Memory. No. It's down. I wonder if they might have a download for the manual. We just take a look. Oh, come on, Asus. Like, I like Asus for their support. Trust me, I was looking up MSI stuff earlier. It wasn't going well. Plenty of BIOS stuff, LAN stuff. Not that you're going to get much in the way of internet speed out of this stuff. Frequently asked questions. The PC cleaner. How to optimize a lot of stuff that was updated in 2020. Strange. Right, so apparently this page is broken. Nice. I've killed the Asus website. Well, that went well. Can I click it fast enough? Oh. Yep, that's working. Nice. Okay, we actually got the user manual. Which should tell us a bit more about it. See, I'm educating myself on this before I spend a lot of money on a motherboard. That's more than my current motherboard's worth. Item checklist. Make sure you've got all of this. Yep. We also need to know about our maximum RAM capacity. Yep, it's a pretty good board, honestly. You got this all labeled, so if you check 3, it'll probably tell you, yes, whatever that says. Something important. Due to Pentium 4 power consumption, an ATX 12-volt power supply. Yes, Pentium 4 power consumption. They were hot on it, even then. Yep, it was bad. Motherboard settings. Jumper free mode. Hardware setup. This is for overclocking, I'd imagine. Yep, frequencies. System memory. Right, the motherboard has 184 RAM bus inline memory modules. These sockets support 64 megabits, 128 megabits, and 256 megabits direct RDRAM technologies. No hardware or BIOS setup is required after adding or removing memory. Well, that's useful. So we have to populate them all with RDRAM, and it can take up to 2 gigs maximum, so 512 megabytes in each. Yeah, you see, because if you don't use one, you have to fill one with a CRIM slot, which we don't really want to do. So, yeah, as you can see, they've got the heat spreader. I don't think there's anything about... Yeah, right, yeah, that seems to be fairly decent. Nice, and it's actually quite an extensive manual. I'm quite happy I've downloaded that. Right, so in other words, that's pretty good for the RAM. I'm just going to type in... I suppose we could get 512 megabytes, but, you know, we're not going to... There's no point trying to go down that route. I was just wondering why 128 megabytes was so expensive, but maybe with the cheaper boards, maybe you do need cheaper stuff. Is that 2 times 128, 2 times 256. I'll open those up in the same tab again, so it might be worth doing that. I'll just add those to basket for now to remind me that I do need to sort out the other ones. And then we'll have a little bid on those ones down there. They should work together. I might actually go down that route of just getting the 2 Samsung ones. And look at that, trying to recommend me new stuff. Hilarious. Right, so where were we? We've sorted out RAM, processor, case, motherboard. We've even sorted out our cooler, which should work, at least according to the Curry's website. I'm more amazed that Curry's even stocks these. What else have we got left to sort out? We've got a graphics card. I suppose we need a case of some sort. A case would probably be quite important. PC. Should we see what's available for PC cases? Originally, I was going to look at one for... it was a Mercedes case. But unfortunately, Owen of TechWen managed to beat me to it because I posted a link and he beat me to buying it. I'll see if I can actually find an image of it because it was pretty dire. In fact, I even had it in my basket to buy it. But I'm not too fussed because honestly, it's pretty horrendous. So I'll open that up for you now. Here it is. Behold, the Mercedes PC case. It's pretty bad, but I think we can do a little bit better than that, honestly, because it's a bit tacky, and I think we want something that's a bit classier. So let's sort by lowest to highest and try and find a PC case that's not too bad. We want something that's a little bit retro, ideally. Not that's been for sale for ages. I'm just looking through, seeing if there is anything. No, there doesn't seem to be much about. Right, Right, just noticed there was some background audio there, but we're back to just looking at PC cases, and I'm just seeing how things are going. Now, that is up in London, so that's not really... I don't really fancy driving to the capital of the UK to get that, as I don't really want to. For anyone wondering if there are any postcodes on show, this is an incognito tab. It is purely a dummy address. It doesn't go anywhere. It goes to a post office. But anyway, where were we with our searches? There was a retro-looking one for sale, I'm fairly sure. Ooh, an open-frame acrylic test bench. That's kind of cool. I mean, I'm very easily distracted by that. It's too small for anything I need to test. It's micro ATX only, but still looks kind of cool. Where are we looking, though? I swear there was some beige PC cases on here as well, but I might have lost them. Lian Li, aluminium case. That's probably nearly age appropriate. It's quite a nice looking system as well. We could go down that route with a Lian Li case. Still got some bids on it though, so that might go up in price. There was some other stuff I was hoping to buy, but it didn't go very well. System Max. I know there's nothing locally for sale, so we're going to have to go with something. We could go with a really over-the-top modern PC case. Retro EATX. Oh, that's kind of cool. Unfortunately, completely out of the area I'm willing to travel to get anything. Retro Metal ATX capable PC case. What is that? Evesham. Oh, it's even got a key for it. This is more for the Matrox PC build part. Now, this is the one I always see all over the place, but I think Micro ATX might be too... Yeah, that's going to be too small for our build, so unfortunately that is too small. We need something larger than that. Either way, I think the case we can probably... I don't really want to say leave it, but we might be able to get away with leaving it for a bit. Seeing what pops up, because our choices really are quite limited, because retro PC cases tend to sell for a bit of money, you know? Like, look at this one. It's quite a lot of money for just a beige PC case. Large white... I mean, that's pretty nice. That is a nice PC case. Free postage, which would be alright. Just looks a bit bare, doesn't it? And it's not got the stuff filling it in. So it's just trying to find something. And now we're entering into territories where I don't really want to spend that much money. Maybe we'll try beige PC case. And then we'll try like ATX case and a few other searches, see what comes up. Where's this located? Saxman... Oh, Suffolk. That might not be too far. I mean, it's probably a bit far to travel at the moment. Yeah, that's far too far to travel. That's up by Norfolk. Far too far. What else have we got here? New luxury Egyptian cotton. MIDI PC cases. Should we go with something modern? Go over the top and be like, yes, this is a PC case. And then we end up looking down this route. Leanne Lee stuff looks kind of nice, though. I will say. Medion, Leanne Lee. A lot of Leanne Lee stuff out there at the moment. Let's check Amazon Warehouse real quick, actually. Amazon Warehouse spelt wrong, and go to PC case, because sometimes you can get stuff quite cheap. PC case, can I sort low to high, please? No, they might... Oh, to sort selected department. Well, computers and accessories, and sort by the cheapest ones around. Got Aerocool, CIT Omega. I mean, it'd be ridiculous. I don't even know if our power supply would even stretch to fit in that case, though. Because the little shroud part. Aerocool Cyclone. CIT Flash. What is that? That'd be mega over the top. Be the Pentium 4 build from hell. It'd be pretty cool, though. Whenever you turn it on, it'd be like, wow! That's a Pentium 4. And it sucks. But it looks kind of cool. In fact, you know, let me know what PC case to go for, because I am quite heavily leaning towards sod the retro look. We'll just get this. Spray paint Matrox down the side. You see, like, down the side there? Just have Matrox down the side. It'll look awesome. It'll be terrible, but it'll be awesome. And then I think the only other stuff to get is, like, a 120 gig SSD and an IDE to SATA adapter, which I'm pretty good at using now because SSD modding the original Xbox. Anyway, this has been a Patreon exclusive upload. Please do let me know what you think of cases. Do we go retro? Do we go tacky? Do we go modern and over the top? Let me know. Either way, I think this could be a really awesome video. It's going to cost me a lot of money, but if you think it's worth it, please do let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.